that's who I wanted to talk to that night.
I love when you go, "Hi, it's Kamala," when you were explaining what happened. Can you re-summarize for us? Because it was an amazing story.
Yeah, I mean, on March 26th when I woke up they woke me up at 2:02 in the morning.
Yeah.
To let me know that the Key Bridge in Baltimore had collapsed, and so instantaneously, a ship that was the size of 3 football fields had slammed into one of the main arteries, commercial arteries in our state. Around 13% of our economy is now shut down. Thousands of people out of work, and I lost 6 Marylanders that morning. 6 people who were working fixing potholes while we slept. And at 2:02. They got word, we're immediately mobilizing and trying to put the state under a state of emergency, getting our units in the water to try to save lives. And I said one of the earliest phone calls that I got was, I said there were 3 words, and I won't forget them. It was just, "Gov, it's Kamala."
Gov, it's Kamala.
I mean, and when you are going through the storm, when you are watching literally everything that's kind of coming upon you, and I always say, think about, the darkness is always scary. What makes the darkness a little less scary is when you can reach out and someone grabs your hand. And essentially what the president did, what the vice president did was, in that time when everything felt dark, they reached out and they grabbed my hand and they said, "We're gonna be with you every step of the way." And they have been. And so I'm really proud of the response the state has had in this moment. But I know it's not because we got it done because we weren't alone.
Well, I'll tell you that if it was another person, it would have been grabbing probably something else, right? I'll tell you that. Let's see what the team is looking at. Governor Moore, how are you? Imagine if he goes, "Governor, it's Donald. Great work. Thank you very much."
I mean, I'm sorry, I was looking for a transition.
That was so terrifying. If I had to hear that voice during that time, that would have been terrifying to me, actually. And you know what is funny?
Why? What about it would have been terrifying?
Everything. However, you know what honestly would have been most terrifying for me?
Yeah.
Was the president and the vice president came from a place of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment when I'm ordering our divers to get in the water, they're out there saving lives immediately, ordering air assets to put lights on, trying to figure out, okay, what do we have in terms of all this local assets or state assets or federal assets? You're speaking with the FBI, trying to figure out, is this foul play? And the reason that it would have been so scary is at that moment, I already know the questions that I probably would have gotten from Donald Trump, which were exactly the wrong questions that I would have hoped to get from the president of the United States in that moment when we're just locked in and focused on.
What would one of those questions have been?
I mean, quite honestly, it's questions like, tell me, tell me about the immigration status. Tell me, or things like when I'm saying, here's what I need, or that kind of thing, and having the president of the United States say, well, make sure you ask me nicely.
Oh, God.
It's things like that it's just like...
You think he would really do that?
I wouldn't... I mean, listen, I think about the chaos that happened all throughout the time. I think about the stories that I heard from my colleagues who are the governors who had to be governors.